Hello everybody, it's me, it's Andy Decade, Andy here. We're doing Moonbase 2. We're doing Moonbase 2 today. We're in a pre-show and we got Big D with us. Hey.
Hello.
Hey, okay, the volume is working, that's good. I've got Twitter on screen. That's a horrifying mini game. Jesus Christ. Can you see what it is? You might not. It depends if you're on the stream channel or not. I've rearranged my streaming room as well for Moonbase 2. I thought this might look a little bit nicer since it was pulled out all the way before. Now I've got a little desk. I've got Optimus Prime and I've got my Yeti microphone as well.
Hang on, let me refresh my TV for YouTube and see if you show up, because I can have you on mute in the background whilst we're doing this.
Ah, very good. One extra view, I'll take it.
There we go.
Yeah.
Moonbase 2.
Yeah, that's it. That's us. Me. Do.
Hey.
Yeah, it didn't even take that much to do. I just found a PNG of a desk and a PNG of a Yeti microphone and an Optimus Prime, and I went, there we go. That'll do.
I dig it.
Yeah, I thought it looked a little bit better at least. I was like, that's a bit better now. I see Daddy in chat. Hey, Daddy. Oh, this is new. Yeah, I decided to rearrange the stuff just to look a little bit nicer. Since I wasn't going to have Mikey on the show anymore. It was something I was meaning to do for a while, and I just went yesterday. I went, oh, fuck it. How long will it take? And it didn't take long. It didn't take long at all.
I'm kind of wishing now I'd taken a picture of Deathsaurus sat on his throne.
See,
Jesus, my picture.
See, it wouldn't work for me because I don't have him. I've actually been doing a lot of tidying today, so I've been putting back like Overlord into his Legends box and stuff like that, and I've decided, hey, the Legends and the Titans Return boxes are quite nice. I'm gonna put them on my shelves.
Yeah.
Rather than one, have the shelves empty, or two, just have figures on the shelves because it's less dusting. Like those boxes are really good, actually. Even the Legends ones are my favorites. Titans Return, Six Shot, and Titans Return Black Shadow. They look really nice in that box. And it's a stupid thing to say, but they look really good.
Not really. I mean, to be fair, the packaging, that consistent thing with Titans Return where they had the headshot of the character with the head going in, that was a nice look. And it was a fairly unshowy dress to the packaging.
Yeah, you could see the figure. It was all visible because it had a card in, which is we just don't do that now, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I do think we're missing not having it, to be honest. I think like the window is a good look for the box. And yeah, like you said, it wasn't a very obtrusive bit of artwork on the front either. It's just, hey, there's the toy.
Yeah. See, I must admit, I've been contemplating putting my Overlord away, but mine's a bit tricky to do because mine's Carnifex.
What?
Well, I didn't buy the Titans Return Overlord or Legends. I bought Mastermind Creations version.
Oh, right, okay. I see what you're saying now. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I'd have to disassemble. If I remember, he came in the box with his legs taken off. So I had to take them apart to put them back in.
Well, is that not just because like he turns into a tank and the jet? So his legs, if you wanted to transform him, you'd have to disassemble him anyway? Because you had to do that for
partly, yeah.
You have to do that for the Legends one, because in the Legends packaging, he's in both tank and jet mode at the same time. Or they are, because you get both of the heads, I suppose. Giga and Mega.
He's just a bit heftier.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I remember the Carnifex figure being quite a chunky figure. I've
got that Black Shadow of the Titans Return version. That was quite a nice version of the character. I was very surprised they didn't end up doing Thunderwing.
No,
because they clearly intended to.
Yeah, the last time we got Thunderwing was Generations, the deluxe figure. That was the last time we got Thunderwing, a long time ago. Thank you for coming on by, Daddy. Enjoy the Tekken. Don't lose. Ooh. Don't lose in Tekken. Be a winner, not a wiener. Don't be a wiener. Yeah, I mean, the Titans Return Black Shadow was the last time we got Black Shadow too, which I had that realization while putting them away today. I was like, goddamn. Huh, who knew? I mean, I knew because I figured it out, but like that, it's been a while.
And Six Shot as well, that's...
Yeah, it's a shame because I have, obviously I've got the Six Shot. He's was not a very tight release. He was quite loose when he originally came out, and he's quite loose now, unfortunately, which is a bit of a bummer.
Yeah, I got the quick switch out of the the Velocitron box, the other one, and
oh no, it wasn't the Velocitron one. It was the same time period, but it was called something. It was called something. I can't remember.
Oh yeah. It was the Cybertron one.
Yeah, I don't.
Because there was one that was Velocitron, one was Cybertron.
Yeah, the only thing I remember is one had Laser Optimus Prime. No, G2 Optimus Prime from Octane. The one you had the quick switch, which wasn't a very good quick switch, unfortunately.
No, he's loose as hell.
Yeah, and obviously he doesn't look anything like quick switch, apart from he's got the color scheme. No. Okay. I think the Japanese release was good because obviously they did great shot out of him, so.
Yeah, that was really nice, to be fair.
We got to remember the Legends era was when everything was just better from Japan. Everything.
Oh, yeah.
Quality control, paint job, new molding. Everything was just so good from Japan. It was just like, are you buying the Legends version or the American version? Oh, you got the American version? Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, I got Jinrai and God Bomber from the Legends range.
Yeah, man. Compared to the American one's so sad in comparison.
I know.
So sad.
It makes me so funny that they put that Optimus Prime with a slight repaint, the Takara version, into one of those gift sets they did.
Yeah.
But it was a version of him that didn't have feet because he's designed to go with God Bomber.
That's right, yeah.
We didn't do God Bomber. It's just like, guys.
Well, it was something.
You could have put God.
It did look a little bit better because it looked more like Power Master Optimus Prime than the one that they got, but
yeah,
it still was rough. And a little bit after that, Power of the Primes era, we got the Power of the Primes Leader Optimus Prime, and Japan went okay and slightly retooled it into Star Convoy, and that's the last time we've had a Star Convoy. It was okay. It wasn't the best, but it was like, yeah, it's all right.
I've got the Super Megatron they retooled out of Galvatron, the Gen Selects. Yeah,
I like the idea. I didn't like how it was executed totally.
See, I like it in hand. I quite like him.
Sure.
He's a Megatron that I have quite happily just tooled around with on my desk because he feels like that Galvatron mold, which I didn't dislike, but it's everything that was wrong with it corrected.
I see. The version of the mold I have that was corrected was. Do you remember the third party Big Cannon? Don't worry if you say no. Okay, so what it was.
I think I do.
What it was that mold. It was the Titans Return Galvatron mold with the Headmaster gimmick removed. He was sized up to leader scale, and he was just made into G1. And he's huge. Like I know a problem people have with him is he's oversized, and it's like, yeah, he's very oversized. But in terms of quality, he's really good, and he was 30 quid.
Oh, well, you can't really argue that, can you?
No, it was like fantastic for the price and the size and everything you got within the build control, and it looked like proper G1 Galvatron. It's like, oh, shit.
Did they fix his arm cannon so it actually looked half decent rather than having to buy a...
Oh, yeah.
Because I ended up getting a Shapeways plug to mount it properly.
Let's see if I can... I'll find an image. I'll turn the weird Twitter stuff off, and let's see if I can find Big Cannon.
Cool. I'm getting weirded out by seeing Mario with his ass growing repeatedly.
Yeah, I know. It's just, someone tweeted that, and I was like, yeah, well, I guess we'll just leave it as is. Cannon on. Big Cannon. Is that Big Cannon? Yeah. There's Big Cannon. Let me get a full screen image of him. Wait, is that Big Cannon? Yeah, that's Big Cannon. Okay. That's Big Cannon. That's the one I have on my shelf.
So I'm just waiting for the delay to catch up.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. It's huge.
Oh, that does look nice, though.
It is good. Yeah, I mean, the face isn't like 100% spot on, but the hands open up. Like you said, the shoulder cannon works in the right place. He's very clicky, like ratchety jointed, all in his legs. He's just massive. And again, 30 quid for something that's bigger than leader scale for the most part.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah, pretty much. I was like, why not? Yeah.
But did you ever have that Super Megatron?
No, I never did. I was going to get it at one point, but then I went,
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. I got him on a good deal from someone on, I want to say, Facebook. I got a good deal for him. I think I paid under 30 quid, which...
Oh, that's a great deal. Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, where that Galvatron, the original version, it has some looseness. This updated version, the Super Megatron, it just felt so much nicer. It had little... Not as good as that retool that you had, the KO, but for a mainline toy, or as close to mainline as selects get, for a very niche figure. I mean, bear in mind, Super Megatron had only ever appeared in the manga?
Yeah, only the manga, as far as I remember. There was no toy of him. This is the only way you can get that figure.
Yeah. So for that was quite nice. And part of me would like at some point to pick up Star Convoy to go with him, but that figure goes for you're looking at 130 minimum most places. It's big powered set. That's minimum 200.
I'm disappointed I didn't pick up the big powered, like you said, the big powered set, because that was Die Atlas was redone out of Overlord.
Overlord, yep.
And who were the other two out of?
One was a retool of Twin Twist.
Okay, is that the red one or the black one?
That was the red one, the drill tank.
Okay, yeah.
And the jet.
Where's the jet from?
I want to say he was one of the aerial bots. Because it was a very odd choice that they made to retool him. Because it wasn't. I don't think it was Dreadwind or Darkwing.
Let's have a quick check. Transformers Legends, big powered. Okay, big powered.
Yeah.
You were right on Twin Twist. I can't actually tell off the top of my head.
There was a lot of retooling especially in that jet. That version of it.
It might be Combiner Wars, but it's been if it is, it's heavily retooled.
Yeah.
Super heavily retooled because it don't look like one. Yeah, this is what slightly annoys me about third-party companies. You go, yeah, but how about do Die Atlas? Do something. Do Super Megatron. There's one official Super Megatron. Do a new one. Do Violent Giga. Do him.
Yeah.
Fucking cowards. Bring me back Violent Giga. That's what I want. It's a thing I've said for years, and we'll get him one day. You know what we should do, Big D? We should actually start the show since we're already talking about Transformers.
Oh, I suppose so.
Yeah, okay, let me get some music, and then we'll rock the boat, baby. Don't rock the boat, baby. Etc., etc. Okay, music time.
Welcome to Moonbase 2.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Moonbase 2 podcast. My name is Andy, Decayed Andy, and I'm joined this week by Big D. He comes.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going, Big D?
Not too bad, mate. Yourself?
Same as usual. We've rearranged the Moonbase 2 live stream a little bit, so hopefully it looks a little bit more interesting visually.
Very flash.
Yeah. If I had a very fancy VTuber model, my zombie would be movable, but I don't have enough money for those. Though, if you didn't know, good VTuber models can go for minimum 300 to 5,000.
I suspected a couple of one of the 40k YouTubers I follow. He started collaborating with some VShojo VTubers.
Oh yeah, Bricky.
And their models are just that's awesome. Part of me goes, I know in theory how that works, but very, very cool and also very, very intricate. So
yes, there are many, many layers to a VTuber in terms of individual parts that have been animated. So when you move, it corresponds to that movement. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Difficult. Lots of artistic woo-woo to it as well. But we're here to talk about Transformers today. There's been a few little bits and doodads and bee-boobs and whatnot being gone on this week. Obviously, there was the Hasbro event. That's the last story, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
We're going to kick off with third-party stuff with New Age. They've shown off the H60 Feely, which is Windcharger, and the H60D Dalton, which is Tailgate. So I think these are new molds, I think. They're all legend scale, as is the way for New Age. Windcharger comes with his gun and a tractor beam, seen in the G1 cartoon at some point, so it says. And Dalton comes with, which is a retool. Which is a tailgate retool and deco, and he comes with his gun. So, it's just tailgate, but it's just been redone, which makes sense. What do you think of Windcharger with his little tiny little baby face? Oddly enough, looks a little bit like Motormaster's head, which I've just noticed.
Windcharger always had a very weird head design. For most of the Autobots. But no, I quite like these, to be fair. They look quite nice and fun. I'm a little concerned with how many panels there seem to be for the bonnet, for the car mode.
Yes.
Well, to be fair, there's a lot of panels in general, but for how they appear to transform and the amount of articulation you're getting out of it, I think that's a fair compromise.
Yeah, the thing with New Age is they're very, very intricate. There's usually a lot going on. I maybe too much for something like Windcharger, but that is the New Age way.
I mean, certainly it blows all the Hasbro versions of Windcharger from last year's out of the water. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, it'll
not exactly hard, but still,
it'll have a price to reflect that as well. I think this will probably be like £30 or more. I would imagine this is kind of the usual price. I hope not more than £30. It would be a little bit rough if this was more £40 for this one guy.
Yeah. But no, I think they look perfectly fine. They look not my bag. I don't collect that scale as a rule, or New Ages in general. But if you do, I think you're not going to be displeased with either of these two. They look perfectly fine.
I don't remember his tractor beam looking like that. It looks kind of like an old school video camera.
I remember he had it coming out of his hand, but it does look a little odd.
I'm sure it's right. I'm sure it's correct. It just looks strange, probably because I don't remember it.
Because they've had to basically have it enclosing over his whole hand. So a lot of characters, when they do this, they normally find a way to hide the hand away, either replace it or the hand folds, and you can plug the attachment in. Because of how small Windcharger is anyway, they've clearly not had the scope to do that with his hand. So they've just done like they normally do with a Trailbreaker and made it like a little hood you put over it. So it's not an elegant solution, but
for that scale, I think it's probably the best you could hope for, to be honest. Yeah. It's fine. I think the design originally was kind of weird, probably. I just can't remember it, so it just looks strange. And Tailgate is obviously the G1 version, not the IDW comic version, so I'm sure that might upset some people. There's just a redeco. It looks fine, The problem I have with these two is I just don't care about either of them. I don't think either of them have really cool designs.
That's a tough one. I mean, their alt mode is kind of like, what was it, Pontiac Firebird?
I don't know.
If I remember, which
it's a car, isn't
for the time, but for the time was it was the Smokey the Bandit car.
Okay, all right, I've heard of that.
So because there's you quite often see, I've seen versions of both these characters in black with that Firebird logo that's quite famous from that version of the car. So I get why, from that angle, there's a bit of popularity to it. But Tailgate, like you said, IDW made him as a character. He had nothing prior to that, not really.
Oh.
Windcharger was one of the guys who was always there and had the weird magnet powers in G1.
I don't think he was always there. He was there for, he was there as much as anyone was.
I mean, he was in the background across most of the first 2.5 years, especially in the comics.
Oh, you mean comics? Okay, I thought you were talking about cartoon, because cartoon-wise, I mean,
the cartoon was a bit of a different situation. But, you know, the characters with names, characters that some people will have an attachment to, and it's nice to see them getting a better than half decent figure out of it. To be fair.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is that it? Okay, I wasn't sure if you.
Yeah, sorry, that was it.
Okay. Yeah. No, I mean these kind of, for me as usual, drop into the they're fine. You know, they're season 1, season 2-ish kind of characters. They've got him tailgate standing next to their IDW style Cyclonus, and they are clearly they don't really work together. But you know they're trying to sell them as it.
That's a weird combo.
Yeah, it doesn't look quite right for obvious reasons, because it's not quite right. XL Head says, tailgate's the perfect size to be stepped on. Wow. Well, you never know. In this day and age, he might be into it. I don't know. No kink shaming. Some kink shaming. Some. Not a lot, but some. But yeah, that's these two. They're fine. I wouldn't say it. For me, it feels like it's been a while since New Age have done what I would consider an exciting release. It's been a while.
They do seem to be kind of filling in the gaps now more than anything else.
The last ones I remember them doing were, I think they were hoofing through the Dinobots, so we've been kind of on a big Dinobot slog for the longest time, and they've done Wheeljack, and that feels like a bit of a slog as well. Kind of again stuck in the season 1, 2-ish kind of era, and I'm much more like, in terms of visuals, I think season 3 has more weird and interesting designs to it, which I prefer.
Yeah, that's perfectly fair. I mean, well, not even just season 3. Anything that wasn't really based on a toy in season 1 and 2.
Yeah, because like season 3 specifically, when they went, how about we do future things? And you're like, well, what is the 80s interpretation of future cars or jets or alien versions of cars and jets? And it's like, wow, the guys were out there. That's some really fun designs, which is what I liked.
Yeah.
But
there was a lot of coke around in the 80s.
It was a hell of a drug. Hell of a drug. Takara have been shown off the Takara Tomy Earthspark ESD-S, if I could read, DX Battle Station Optimus Prime. This is Earthspark, as I mentioned. The Japanese market are getting a few things. Prime, as I mentioned. Prime is in a cartoon-accurate deco. It's the Warrior class figure, but it's coming with an exclusive trailer, which granted he didn't have a huge amount of the time in the show, but it's the only way to get the trailer now. They're also getting Terran Trash, which is more accurate deco, apparently. Elita 1, which is the one-step changer, so it's complete shit.
Certainly, yes.
The Sapto Change Skull Cruncher. Sapto. Okay. Which is the shitty one-step changer for Skull Cruncher as well. So there's only really 2 figures of value to talk about here, but we'll talk about Elita 1 first and get this shit figure out the way.
Okay. It's a shame because I actually like her alt mode and her general design in the show.
She's got one of the better designs, I would say. Yeah, she's just not in the show.
Yeah. Shame,
I mean,
really.
there's a lot of things that I hate about Earthspark, but to be fair, Elita 1 not being in the show is not one of the big issues I have, but I did think it was a bit of a shame, especially with the hype they gave her. And the fact that they're not giving her a toy as well. It's kind of a
yes, that's the biggest one for me. Her and RC both have I actually quite like both their designs in the show.
I don't really like RC's. I don't like the grill abdomen area. I don't think it really works. It looks a bit weird. I think the alt mode is good. I just don't think it's transferred to a robot mode desperately well.
I mean, I liked the fact that they tried a different alt mode for her.
No, yeah, the car mode for her is good. It's just, I don't think it works for a robot mode desperately well, personally. Leader 1's did. And yeah, both of them have been, well, to be fair, that and, what was it, Cyberverse and RID before that, not the good RID, the bad RID, have all been in this weird thing of not everyone's going to get a good warrior class figure. They're all going to get just shit across the board. You're going to get random one-step changes, 3-step changes. Some will get warriors. Some will get oversized one-step changes. It's just the mess of like the show's clearly not designed for adults, and the toy line's clearly designed for kids that I don't think Hasbro respects.
No, and the thing is, there's nothing wrong with a toy line being aimed at that market. I mean, my nephew, bless him, he's a bit of he can be a bit what's the word? His toys show their wear, shall we say?
No, he's a kid. He has toys. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But there's a difference between that and some of these where they're just like, oh man, these are kind of insulting.
That's the problem. Because if you remember, for the longest time when we were kids, it was just these are the toys. Beast Wars. You had basic, deluxe, mega, all that. We didn't have crap versions of them. I mean, you could argue that the basics were crap because it was Rat Trap, but it looked like Rat Trap for the most part. And the bigger characters had bigger figures.
I mean, with that leap to Beast Wars, where they've made real use of the ball joints across the entire range. I mean, I still have some of those early figures that I picked up over the years from boot sales markets and eBay.
Yeah.
And Rat Trap especially, because he's the most obvious one I can think of off the top of my head. Got the quick change thing where you flip the tail and he pretty much transforms by himself. Mm-hmm. But once you've done that, the figure is actually quite nicely designed.
Yeah, it's not a bad little toy.
It's articulated. There's a lot of fun to it.
Yeah.
These, for one-step changes, you can't do anything with them.
No, because they're trying to be a more complex design than the money is behind them, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, for one thing I would say is that with the Legacy line now, which seems to have become the new ongoing thing, which I hope remains the case, maybe, I'm saying this with fingers crossed here, we might see Hasbro look at some of the other cartoon characters who haven't had toys on decent toys, like Elita 1 from Spark and RC, or some of the Cyberverse characters.
I mean, you could argue that the Elita, not Elita 1, the Windblade is the Cyberverse design, technically.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I actually have that Windblade in front of me right now. And in hand, yes, she has all the characteristics of the Cyberverse aesthetic, those larger, lower legs. It's kind of distinctive. There's that look to the head. But although it's still Windblade, it was also very noticeably Cyberverse.
Yeah.
So I mean, I have the original Windblade toy in one for cabinets.
Oh, the original one. That's a rough figure. Yeah. That was not a great figure, unfortunately.
No, but it was one of the first properly female Transformers we actually had in ever. What
do you mean the first properly female?
I probably worded that wrongly, so I do apologize.
No, because we have had other female Transformers.
True, but she was one of the first modern ones that was actually designed to be a female character from the ground up.
No, there was Thunderblast and a few others as well from Galaxy Force.
Yeah. But she'd been like the first in part of a decade, I think, at that point. They hadn't really done anything with that since then. They'd done repaints of other characters like botcons and things, but they hadn't really done an original female character in a very long time.
I'm trying to remember what the gap was between Thunderblast from Galaxy Force and that. No, there's Black Arachne from Transformers Animated.
Oh, yeah.
That was the next year.
Good point. Yeah.
What was after? And then there was Prime RC, multiple versions of Prime RC. There was the first edition Prime RC, then there was the RID Prime RC.
I've been a right idiot, aren't I? Yeah. I had been. All right, she was the first female jet they'd tried.
Yes, that's probably.
Although I do think
maybe true.
That particular design works better, I think, as Slipstream, because I have the Slipstream figure as well.
So do I.
That's a much nicer looking figure compared to Windblade.
Yeah, I still think the mold has issues to it and could have been tweaked. It could have been, as the kids call it these days, cooked. It could have been cooked longer. See, I'm fucking
I've got 3 versions of that mod. I've got Windblade, Slipstream, and the Botcon Air Razor.
Oh,
I bought replacement heels off Shapeways for all 3 of them.
Oh, you need to. Jesus.
Just so they could stand up.
Ugh. Ugh. Yeah, that was a thing. Excel Hedge says, "Give me a Legacy Thunderblast, Thundercracker, Ransack, and Crumple Zone." I assume when he says when you say Thundercracker, Excel Hedge, you mean
Cybertron versions.
Cybertron, Galaxy Force. I would take the Unicron from Cybertron as well, because he was interesting little bizarre little tank thing. That was quite fun.
Yeah, I finally picked one of those up last year.
Oh, the Unicron.
Yeah, because I meant to get one. I just hadn't, and I found one for quite cheap, and he's lovely to mess around.
He's fun, yeah. For he's not the best thing ever, but you're like, he's a silly, weird little bizarre tank thing. He's got this kind of nice undead Unicron head design. It's like, okay, I'm down with that. I mean,
part of me kind of would like to have like a mini horde of them, just like drones.
That'd be fun. I don't know why they did Megalo Convoy or Metroplex from Cybertron. The original one was kind of shitty, and the Legacy version is also kind of shitty because he doesn't really do a huge amount of transforming. He never did. The original one didn't really either.
He just unfolds.
He stands up for the most part.
Yeah.
You just kind of stretch him out a little bit. It was never very good. It was one of the weaker Cybertron designs or Galaxy Force designs. Like, do Master Megatron / Master Galvatron. Do Master Galvatron, because Master Galvatron looked way better. Batmobile Megatron.
Everyone I've seen online who has that version of Metroplex, so the Legacy version, has said that it is quite a nice solid figure in hand. So,
well, you'd hope so, because it doesn't do any transforming.
Yeah.
It's a Titan figure. If you told me it was loosey goosey, I'd be like, you've wasted 250 quid. I'd be fucking furious. Yeah. Just saying it's tight. I'm like, well, yeah, good. Yeah. That's the minimum. I would say the baseline.
At least he's holding steady at under 90 quid now, that one.
I guess, but I think that shows it wasn't popular. 90 quid's okay for the amount of plastic you get for him, but yeah. XL Hedge says the Cybertron Unicron was clearly meant to get a bludgeon repaint that never happened. That would have been quite interesting. I think the problem with doing him as bludgeon repaint is Unicron's orangey, bludgeon's orangey as well. You say Banzai-tron, that would like visually could work because it's green instead of orange.
Yeah, that could. Yeah, that could have worked.
But I'm not saying XL Hedge, your idea that like him being a bludgeon repaint wouldn't work. I think it could work. It's just it's too similar. Like Optimus Prime being repainted into slightly maroon Optimus Prime. It's just like Mr. White says, "Oh my god, a bit of a shock to log on to see that." To see what? What did Mr. White see? So let's talk about the more interesting things rather than the crappy one-step changes. The more color accurate, show accurate Thrash. Now, I don't care about Thrash or the show or anything like that, but this, from what my recollection was of what the original American release was to what this is, I think this looks closer to what Thrash should be.
Yeah, I mean, I would actually have that figure, but I can't get to him at the moment.
Ah, okay. But you remember what it looks like, right?
Yes, I can.
It's more grey, right?
Hang on.
Oh.
We're going live.
Oh, my God. Mr. White says, I saw the one-step changer you had on the screen. Oh, okay.
Apologies for the horror there, Mr. White. No one deserves to see a one-step changer first time they log on to anything.
Yeah, it's always sad.
Right, Earthspark, Terran Thrash, Warrior. Yeah, he's casting gunmetal grey plastic.
That's right. But he wasn't in the show, right? He was more... Was he more
No.
white?
Yeah, and ironically, that's actually what's on the box art behind the figure. Well, I always read the character as being more kind of like a very
maybe
platinum silvery color.
No, platinum. Yeah. Platinum's a better way to phrase it. Platinum color. Yeah, so it's whitey but shiny, metallic-y-ish as well. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but this with those metallic turquoise accents and the bronze. I do actually quite like that. That looks quite nice.
It looks better, probably more as it should be, I would say.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't care, and it wouldn't be something I would get, but I think if you want a Thrash to look as accurate as possible, the Japanese one, I guess, is the way forward. And it looked good. It looked good.
Yeah.
I don't think the mold is the best thing ever, but for a warrior class, it's better than most, maybe.
I mean, it's certainly one more interesting. I mean, as a bike transformer, it's got one of the. I'm not going to say tidiest transformations in robot mode, but everything fits better than most bike formers do.
Okay.
I mean, he hasn't got anywhere near as much back kibble hanging off him.
No, that's true. Yeah.
Not really. Not compared to most bike formers. The wheels in the back of his thighs, they're quite nice as well. So
yeah, it's done a fairly decent job. And the Optimus Prime C, I don't know if the Optimus Prime has had a huge change to him visually, color-wise. I think it's probably pretty similar. I didn't realize how tiny the waist was for that warrior class Optimus Prime. It's teeny.
Yeah, what's one of the big issues of that figure?
It's like he's got anorexia. It looks really weird. But the big selling point here is he comes with the trailer. And again, the trailer, from what I remember from the show, isn't really in the show that much, but it opens up into a base mode. So if you're one of those sticklers for Optimus Primes needing to have his trailer, you go. Yeah, it's an option. It'll be more expensive. You'll have to import it, but it's an option. It's there. Get it if you like. That's all I could say for that one, I suppose. Unless you've got anything else to say on.
Really, it's just nice to have that as an option,
Yeah. The option's better than no option at all, I suppose. We do also have the Takara Tomy 40th anniversary project, Our Origin. It's called. What does this entail? There aren't too many details as of yet. That might have changed by the time the show comes out. You listen to this or whatnot. It's going to be a special celebration to thank fans for the support over 40 years. And these are some of the details. So on the YouTube channel, there's going to be the G1 Japanese dub and Beast Wars 2 episodes will be broadcast. I assume this is the Japanese channel, or is this the English channel?
I did have a look, and it looks like it is going to be on the Japanese channel.
That makes sense, because like the Japanese dub, why would you? And Beast Wars 2, and if you're not going to sub it, then makes sense. It's also going to have 2 G1 episodes will be uploaded per week from Friday, starting on the 2nd, so it's already begun. They're already getting their episodes. 1 Beast Wars 2nd episode will be uploaded per week every Tuesday, starting on the 13th of this month, which is a few days away. A week and a bit away. And episodes will be available for a limited time only. Oh, that's a bit of a shame, but okay. Upcoming Missing Link, Collaboration, Masterpiece, and MPG products will be announced in April. So we've got a few little doodads that will be coming.
Yeah, that's
in
interesting.
The future. What do you think of this? I think it's good that the Japanese fans will have something coming to them, I suppose. Arguably a little bit more than what Hasbro's done, which is not really much.
Well, I mean, I was actually a bit surprised to see this at all, to be fair.
Same.
I mean, 2 episodes of the G1 cartoon a week.
Per week. It's like, sure, okay.
Well, per fortnight, 2 episodes of Beast Wars 2.
Yep.
That's not bad. And the thing is, the limited time thing, I'm not surprised about it, because that's quite common with Japanese shows on the YouTube channels.
Is it?
Gundam gets out. Yeah, the Gundam shows quite often get bounced up for a few months at a time.
Okay.
Then they go down. So some of the channel, I think Gundam Info and Bandai, between them, they rotate some of the Gundam shows quite frequently.
Fair enough. I guess it makes sense, because it means it kind of maybe could force you down the, hey, maybe buy the physical product, so then you can just watch it when you like kind of deal.
Yeah, but it's a nice way for people to be able to. And although it is in Japanese and we've not been advised of any subtitle tracks, although you never know.
I'd be surprised.
You might have to rely on YouTube subtitle generator for that, which may God go with you.
Yeah.
But you know what? I can't lie and say that I wouldn't load up an episode or 2 of Beast Wars 2 just to see what it was like. Because I've never actually watched any Beast Wars 2.
It's a very silly anime. It's very.
That's what I hear.
I'm trying to remember how to describe the writing. Not as like young as Pokemon, but not much higher than Pokemon.
Yeah,
either,
it's very well. It's from the same time period, more or less, when Pokemon first made its impact.
It's similar-ish kind of demographics. So
yeah, So I mean, I might give it a shot to see what it's like. What I'm really intrigued by though is the April announcements. Masterpiece, not a surprise. There might be some new masterpieces. Missing Link, though, because that's the line that they branded that new Optimus Prime figure under that's coming out.
Yeah, the articulated G1 Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
I can't remember its name. Was it just called Missing Link? I think it was, right?
Yeah, Missing Link Convoy.
Yeah.
So, because I don't think anyone's really expected them to do more with that.
Not really.
I think Optimus Prime was kind of billed as the 40th anniversary figure, so to speak, especially for Takara when they announced it. So I'm kind of intrigued to see what they could do with that, because
I guess like the obvious thing is do Starscream or do Soundwave, the other kind of stereotypical ones. Like, Soundwave's the easy one. You can't really do Megatron because Megatron's a gun, so unless you make a new figure, like
and also his robot mode was shit.
It was, it was, it was rough.
Prime, you got the advantage that his robot mode is actually fundamentally sound. It's just a case of going in and working out where to fit articulation, and it looks like they've actually kept things like his fists removed. I think if I'm wrong with that,
I can't remember offhand,
but I think his fists are still removable from the headlights.
Probably.
So they kept elements of the original transformation, but modernized everything else. So he actually has joints and posability.
And I think you could do something similar with Soundwave because, like Prime, he has most of the components there. You just need to kind of tweak them a bit. So yeah. And Soundwave's really popular as well, so it's kind of the obvious thing to go for. Starscream would be a little harder because he was so parts for me.
Yeah, that's a much harder one to do.
Yeah.
I mean, part of me would. I mean, would they try maybe doing in some of the Autobot cars?
I think you got to go with someone popular, and I think the most popular one that isn't Megatron is Soundwave.
Yeah,
because you can't do Bumblebee because he's too small. So you got to have a figure scaled similar to Prime, and I think Soundwave's similar-ish scale. I think Soundwave's technically taller, but they're in the same kind of range.
Well, don't you remember the original packaging art, Andy? But it was Soundwave. I think. No, was it packaging or was it one of the original comic book covers? It was Soundwave versus Prime. That was the iconic image that did the rounds for so long in the 80s. Them two grappling and Prime getting blasted in the face by Soundwave's shoulder blaster. So,
well, you could definitely sell it on that as well, I suppose. Mr. White says G1 comic was Soundwave and Prime. There you go. That might be the one you're thinking of.
Yeah.
But
no, it's interesting.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting thing to speculate on what's going to come there. Masterpiece-wise, I don't know. Now we've had the train bots all done. I don't know who they do after the train guy. Riding.
They've done. I mean, unless
there's still a lot of Beast Wars figures they could do.
There's a lot of Beast Wars they could do.
Yeah, because they just stopped.
They've done Prime, Megatron, the Seekers. Pretty much all the Autobot cars.
We're talking about the 3.0 versions, aren't we? So the newer-ish ones, Yeah.
The only thing... Would they go back and do Masterpiece Dinobots?
I mean, they could do, potentially, because it's been a while since the Grimlock Masterpiece came out, and Prime's had, 2 iterations from that point. If they wanted to be really boring, they could be 4.0 Optimus Prime and feel like, oh my god, Jesus Christ, not another one.
Someone pointed out that MP44 Prime is nearly
pretty old now.
Nearly 10 years old.
Is 44 3.0 the third version? Is that one?
It's MP1, MP01, MP44.
Because you have the more animation accurate one, which is the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that's 44. One that was
44. Okay,
ludicrously overpriced.
Was 22 the one in between 1 and that one then, or something like that?
Something like that, yeah. Because there was there was because they did do another one that after MP1, they did do another one that was scaled better to the other Masterpiece figures.
It was the super popular one that got loads of re-releases and recolors and everything like that. And oddly enough, the MP44 has just been the one. I don't think it's really been produced as much as the previous one, whatever that one was.
44 was so expensive. I mean,
it was.
Was it 250? 299, something like that?
If not
I remember
more.
seeing the first price and went, yeah, right.
Yeah, well, thankfully, I can... Oh, Excel Hedge says it was MP1, MP10, and then MP44. Okay, thank you, Excel Hedge. MP10. Wow, so they only did like 9? And then they went, let's do another Optimus Prime. Jesus. All right, well, fair enough.
And bear in mind, for those first batch of Masterpieces, one of those was an Ultra Magnus White Optimus Prime.
That's right. Yeah, that was MP2. Did I have it? I did. Yeah. I did have it. Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, because there was MP1, which is Optimus, MP2, which is Magnus, MP3, which was was MP3 Megatron, and then MP4 was like the green Starscream? Is that how it went? It was something like that. They were all relatively close to each other in terms of their release, I remember. Something like that.
It was those initial releases of Masterpieces were very, very weird, to be honest.
Yeah, that was when I just got back into it. So I was buying Vinyl Tech, I was buying the Masterpiece toys, I was buying the Galaxy Force toys, all the Robot Masters. It was an expensive time for Andy, but he didn't care because he was young and full of cum, as they say. So money went out the window.
I'm the same. I bought MP1 pretty much when it came out. The original, I've still got it on the shelf.
I think
I've not bought a single Masterpiece figure since.
I think when did I stop? I think I stopped with either Starscream or Megatron. I was like, I'm good. I got annoyed with them, and Vinyl Tech definitely helped me get annoyed and never want to touch any more things like that. Like Jesus Christ. Fucking Vinyl Tech. If you want to buy Vinyl Tech of me, I've got a load of Vinyl Tech and alternators. Always happy to sell them. Always. Mr. White says, my ex-Junker MP1 is still going strong. Beautiful, but not very practical.
No. There is that, yeah.
Yeah, there's something to be said for the very first MP figure, because it was quite ambitious for them to do something like that, and no one had ever seen anything like it. So, at the very least, even though by today's standards, it's kind of, you go, hey... It was something kind of interesting. It was interesting. That's what
I still remember when I ordered it, for wait for it to arrive, and massive. I was kind of giddy when it actually did turn up. I was like, hee. My mum insisted I open it in the living room so she could see what the fuss was about.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Well, apart from that, we do have another Optimus Prime, because of course we fucking do. Coming from Takara Tomy. It's the Karakurakiri statue, the KS-01 Karakuri. Yeah, Karakuri statue.
Yeah.
Not from Flame Toys Karakuri figures, which is another line. So this is an Optimus Prime coming from Takara. It's under the 40th anniversary, Our Origin product line. The 01 Optimus Prime. We have a video which I can play as well. I'll just read the blurb from TFW. This is quite an original kind of transforming statue. When you press the button on the pedestal, the Optimus Prime transforms automatically from alt mode to robot mode, and vice versa. Excuse me. After transformation, Optimus Prime speaks from Japanese Transformers dub by Tesho Genda, the original voice actor. The eyes light up, and it seems that the figure can't be separated from the stand, so it's always going to be on there. Pre-orders will be available in summer of this year. If you're interested, if you don't know when summer is, ladies and gentlemen, that is between June and September, with an estimated release date of spring, that's March to May, of next year, 2025. Prices have yet to be determined, though. So, this isn't a Transformer figure, this is a Transformer statue. I guess maybe a good way to think of this is think of the Robo-Sen Optimus Prime just stuck on a plinth or pedestal, I guess.
And hopefully a damn sight cheaper.
Oh, it's definitely smaller. So
oh yeah.
You know, who knows how expensive this will be, But do you think this is being done because of the relative success of the Roboson? I have to imagine it must be, right?
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, to me, this kind of stands as its own sort of thing. As a bit of a, 40th anniversary, flagship character. We've done statues before of them in both modes. What can we do that's a bit different? Let's have a statue that transforms.
Watching the YouTube video, you know what it reminds me of most? It reminds me, the way that it transforms or is shown to transform, is it reminds me of, the giant movable Gundam statue in Japan? Yeah. It has a lot of that vibe to it. I wonder how slowly it will go, because it's not going to pose. You'll have it transform, it'll do the thing, and that'll be about it. I'd say this is better than the Roboson, because you don't need to program any moves on your phone. It doesn't waddle awkwardly.
You won't need half as much space on your shelf.
No, because it's already on a little plinth. It stands on its own, so I assume, unlike the Roboson, it's not one like the Roboson. You can't display that on the shelf. You have to put it away.
For Roboson is more of it's a hobby conversation piece,
Yeah, you bring it out, you show off, and then you put it away again.
Yeah. Whereas this,
like the girl in my basement. No talking. Slap. Back to your hole, wench.
Whereas this is much more. Put it on your shelf, anywhere really.
Yeah.
And if you want to have a bit of fun, just go click.
Yeah.
And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Hasbro release an American version with Peter Cullen voices.
It would make sense for them to maybe do it, but I guess it depends on the market. I don't know how much of a pull this would have.
I mean, not being funny, given some of the TAT Transformers fans I've bought over the years, and I say this having bought some of that TAT myself, be brutally honest for 1 minute. If this is priced right.
What do you consider right for you? What would you pay for this? Better question. What would you pay for it, and what do you think they would want you to spend on it? Because those are obviously two different things.
They are, aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we know how big it is? We don't, do we? They've not had listed any dimensions of it.
If it's said, it's not said here, as far as I can see.
All right, looking at that stand, I'm going to hazard that this thing probably stands smaller than an MP figure.
Yeah, I would imagine like Voyager, maybe Leader.
Yeah.
I doubt it's bigger than the Leader figure.
I'm going to hazard a guess here that the RRP will probably be around the 200 mark.
Okay, yeah.
I would probably be willing to pay no more than 100, 150 at most.
Okay. I don't think that seems unreasonable. That seems fairly okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking in terms of prior statues I've seen them do for various characters. Now, this is different because it's not a porcelain statue or a die-cast statue. It's basically a transforming figure that's stuck in one pose, in essence.
Yeah.
Right. But looking at it, most of the engineering, most of the mechanics and electronics are built into the base of it. So on that score, they're saving. They're not to micro-size as much stuff as you would do for like the Roboson stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I do find it funny how they've kept the gun on the side of the cab mode in truck.
I wonder if you'll be able to unpeg that. You must be.
I find that charming, to be honest.
Yeah,
I don't consider that a problem.
I have a feeling that will not be on the truck in packaging. It'll probably be one of those things like, you put the thing in, so then he's always got the gun on him, right? And it's like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
It's like, whatever, that's okay.
If Takara are doing this, put it this way, I can't see Takara investing the time and money into all of this engineering on their own. This has to be something that they've gone in with Hasbro on. To my mind.
I don't know.
And I can't see even Hasbro passing up the opportunity to offer another take on the flagship character in the anniversary year.
I would disagree and say that they could probably have done this on their own. But I do think that if it does well, I could see Hasbro potentially coming and saying, we'll have that.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be very unsurprised if at this year's PulseCon, which is what, end of October?
Is that right?
Normally?
Maybe.
I think it normally is. If at the end of PulseCon or during the Transformers feed, whatever, if they announced for the end of the year, they're putting up pre-orders for the 40th anniversary Transformable Optimus Prime statue with Peter Cullen voice chip. I would not be surprised in the slightest of that. But we shall see.
Yeah, Mr. White says not the worst answer to Roberson, and they save money not having to worry about about balancing. I would agree.
Yeah.
It also says I expect a Magnus, a Nemesis, a Lucky Draw, and maybe the chassis can be adapted for the cars, starting with the Lambos. Oh God, and then we could get all the thousands of Lambos. I don't think we'll see anything out. Maybe I think repaint could happen potentially. I don't know what you do for voices. That would be the only thing that would make me go, would they even do a repaint? Because what voice do you give the Ultra Magnus?
Yeah.
I don't know. You wouldn't give anything to Nemesis unless you get the original voice actor, if he's still alive. I don't know if he is. To do like evil renditions of lines, I guess. I think this might be a one-off, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think it'd be funny if they did do the
does well. I'd love to see them try and do other characters.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah,
it would be
because
interesting.
If this is priced right, and if it does well, I could see them doing other characters and having fun with the concept.
Maybe. I think this is going to be a one-off just because of what it is, more so than anything else. But who knows?
I can see that.
Yeah, it's interesting at the very least.
Absolutely,
it's a nice little weird Japanese curiosity. Which is nice to see from Japan every now and again.
Yeah.
Another interesting little hoo-ha from the 40th anniversary. We have a Japanese clothes manufacturer called Sugoi Monon, who I've never heard of, but I'm not a fashion person, so no shock there. This is an officially licensed anniversary jacket. Apparently following the jacket reveal last year from the company, which I don't remember. Hang on, let me click on the link because I don't remember a jacket last year. I don't think I talked about this.
I was going to say, they had a jacket last year.
Oh, it says last year, but it says December 2023. So, yes, it was last year, but it wasn't that long ago last year. Yeah, okay. So, the Dinobot jacket, which we didn't talk about, is...
That's not bad, actually.
I don't know, it's pretty fucking expensive. It's made to order. It's 86,000 yen, which is about $600. So, I think
it's not bad.
I think it's fair to assume that this is probably the Devastator one is probably going to be a similar amount, made to order as it says, and it seems like it's suggesting. Yeah, it seems like it's suggesting the same amount.
Yeah.
Pre-orders are up now, I guess, July 31st to the 12th of February, so you don't have long to get it. It's cute. It's like something I would wear as a child from the 80s. That's not a slight against it. It's something I would expect to find from Marks and Spencer's, though, branded. It's cute. I don't think it's $600 cute, though.
No. I mean, I kind of prefer the Dinobot look to the Devastator one, in all fairness.
Also, the website's fucking shit. Just having a look at the main website now, it's crap.
But that's kanji, Andy. It's Japanese.
What do you mean? No, I know.
Oh, sorry, you just meant the layout. Okay.
Yeah, I mean the layout. Because I have no idea where the jacket is. It's like this, just like blobs. There's not like drop-down bars that have t-shirts and whatnot. And there's also a knife.
I saw the Dinobot one.
Whereabouts?
You sure passed it. It was on the scrolling ticker. Scroll back up a couple of.
must be on this one. Yeah, there. There's the. Oh, they don't have the Devastator one yet. Unless you just select the Devastator one. Yeah, I can't say I'm thrilled by the design layout of this page. Just kind of bare bones. XL Head says $600 for a novelty jacket. What the fuck? I guess, yeah. Well, in Japan, fashion is a big business industry, as it is in America, obviously. But yeah, they take their fashion seriously in Japan. You got to look cool, motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole sub thing out there of folks who buy licensed Gundam clothing.
Yeah.
Replica uniforms and stuff, not just novelty branded stuff. It's crazy.
Mr. White says, if you were going to swag out around TF Nation in anything, that's the jacket you do it in. That's fair. And I meant the Dinobot design, not the Devastator design. Hang on. Does no one like the Devastator design? What's wrong with the Devastator design?
I like the central design. It's having the 6 of them on the arms looks a bit...
I think that makes it look cool. Like I'm 5 years old. I'm like, these and then I'm pointing on my elbow. Longhaul's my favorite character, and he's on my belbow.
See, Andy, now you've got me thinking that soon, once these are actually both released, there's going to be a con where there's going to be 2 groups of fans, one in the Devastator jacket, one in the Dinobot one, doing the old West Side Story dance off with.
You say 2 groups, you mean 2 people. I don't see groups of people wearing these. Even Transformer fans have their limits. They'd rather spend $600 US on toys than they would do clothes. Because I'm one of them, to be honest. See, I thought
I can't really argue with that. I've never spent anywhere near that much on clothes ever.
See, I thought someone would have complained about the weird kind of greeny off-white, don't eat these eggs kind of white tone that they have on the jacket between the purple. More so than anything, because I don't even know how to describe that white. It looks like white that is going green. You know how you got yellowing plastic? It's like it's going greening white. You know?
Yeah, it almost feels like they tried for a neon yellowy green and it just hasn't really worked.
Maybe it's just gonna look fucking amazing under black light. You're just gonna glow.
What a terrifying prospect.
Yeah, black lights are pretty cool, unless you've got stains everywhere, but we don't talk about them. Mr. White says, sorry, no, the Dinobots for me. Fair enough. XL Head says, what fashion they spend most of their time in work uniforms, work and school. That is true. But there are people who take their fashion seriously, to be fair. And Mr. White says, oh my God, that's so right. You need the West Side Story featuring the Sharkticons and the Seekers. Jets and the Sharks, baby. Jets and the Sharks. Oh, there's the...
Oh. How have they not done that yet? But that's such an obvious gag. I can't believe it. Especially like Cyberverse, they didn't do that.
It sounds like something a fan convention would do, where you kind of roll your eyes and you go, "Oh, okay, I get it." I'm shocked that no one from any of the cons have done that yet. Maybe it will happen. Maybe West Side Story is a bit too highbrow. I don't know. I'm not sure. We have the first rumored possible looks of a new figure, though, at least a redo of a figure. It's Legacy Unite Deluxe Chromia using the animated Prowl body. I never got that mold because I thought it looked like a fucking terrible animated Prowl because it was way too big. Didn't really look like him at all. I think it looks better as Chromia, though, thankfully. Not perfect,
it's not a bad... It's not a bad mold. It's quite nice and articulated, but I do get what you mean about it not being how you envisage Prowl, because it's animated Prowl is much liver and ninja-y.
Yeah, it's what they do with all of the kind of stylized Transformer designs, where they go, well, let's just kind of tweak it and make it less unique so it fits in with the line mod. It's like, well, that's kind of missing the point, I would say, of doing a legacy version of them. But I definitely think this looks like... This is way better in terms of a Chromia than the last Chromia we got, which was the... Was it Siege? Siege, right?
Yeah, that was the... Yeah, they based her on the Autobot cars, the Elita 1's sidekicks, but they changed the design in So it wasn't actually a combiner limb.
Yes, it was crap.
And then the thing, I like the Nightbird repaint and retool because it actually in hand it actually did balance better than any of the other figures, the previous 4 versions that they did of that mold when it was a combiner.
I had the Cascade. If you remember the repaint and slight retool that came in the Javelin 2-pack. So the mold was the same, and I was shocked how bad that mold was. I thought it was awful. Okay. I hated that mold. It was so basic, nothing locked into place. Felt very flimsy. She had a massive backpack. It was ugly as sin. I was like, this is just a terrible mold. This looks a lot better. I'm not sure how good it is for representation for Chromia, but hell, it's the best looking Chromia I think we've had for a while. So fuck it, I'll be down with it.
I saw a picture that had a shot of the Cyberverse Chromia, just from the animation to compare the head design. Mm-hmm. So it looks like it might be a version of that take on the character.
You think? Excel has the Cyberverse Chromia. Why not release the Prime RC mold that the Cyberverse was based on? That's silly.
Yeah.
That's silly, Excel. Yeah. Why would they do that?
Yeah.
You silly boy, you.
I mean, I have the Thrilling 30 Chromia? The one that was a retool of Prime RC, a very heavy retool of Prime RC.
Oh yeah, it had the giant shield on the front of the bike.
Yeah,
didn't it? That was okay.
She was much more based on the comic book design.
Yeah, it was okay. It was a bit. It was definitely like. It felt to me like a ramshackled remold and retooling, but it was based on a pretty basic mold. I like the Prime RID RC mold. Is that right? Prime Transformers Prime RID. Yeah, because it was the Robots in Disguise line RC mold. Yes, okay. That mold, I think it was okay. It wasn't the best thing ever. Fairly simplistic. It gave a good look to the figure. The Chromia was fine. I think this might be better than that at least.
Yeah, I mean certainly. I mean, like I say, I've got the Prowl version of it. It's not a great representation of Prowl because of how he looked in Prime, but in terms of in hand, how nice it feels. Because it's got some lovely articulation. It's nice. It balances wonderfully. Because one thing that's been one of my tests in recent years is to see if a character I can pose it on one leg doing a spin kick.
Okay.
So I started doing that with Studio Series Hot Rod. And you know what? This mold can do that quite nicely.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, I'd probably say if anyone passed on Prowl and you want this mold, then this will be a nice version of it.
Yeah, I'd be tempted. I don't think I'd want to go for like full price. I'd wait for sale on it kind of thing, because £25 is just too much for my blood. But if it came down in price to around 15, I'd be like, yeah, all right, well, maybe I'd give it a go at least. Why not?
I mean, it's always worth keeping an eye out because what was it? Amazon for the latest wave of deluxes had them all up for
£15-ish.
Yeah. That's why I got 16, I think 17. I got Windblade for.
Yeah, I've seen Windblade for that much. I'm like, do I really want to? I'm like, I don't know.
I mean, I think she's quite nice in hand, but I'm Mr. Positive, so.
Yeah, I don't think it looks like a bad toy. It's just, it's more, do I actually want her? Or am I just getting it because she's cheap? I'm like, I don't know. Because I saw that, I think it was either the animated Bumblebee was also for a similar price, or the Rescue Bot dude, whatever his name was.
They had both.
Was it both of them?
Chase has now gone back up.
Okay.
Bumblebee, I haven't really looked for recently, so I can't say. But my only concern with Bumblebee is I didn't realize how small he actually is.
Yeah, they tried to make him in scale. Yeah.
Which means he's minuscule compared to every other deluxe going.
It's funny because you're still paying the same price, even though he's less plastic.
I know.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll get Windblade at some point. I would much rather like have the Jada Toys Ken figure, but he isn't out yet on Amazon, so I can't get him. That's what I'm really after. XL Hedge says, so are DNA gonna give Chromia a samurai upgrade too? If I remember, the DNA kit design for that Prowl figure, to me, was really oversized. He looked silly with it on.
There is a little bit of that. Mostly it's because of the helmet. Because of
Weren't the shoulders pads really big on it as well?
They are a bit big, but if it had been a head swap rather than a helmet, I think that would have alleviated most problems. Because the problem is that you put the helmet on and you can barely see his face inside it.
Right.
Whereas if it had just been a case of pop the head off, replace it with a samurai helmeted head that was more in scale with everything else.
Yeah.
That I think would have been a better option. I get why they went for what they did, but I think they could have done something a little different.
Yeah, I'd hope they wouldn't give her the samurai look, because Alita isn't really samurai, and it wouldn't make sense.
I mean, I could see them possibly trying to give her I could see them trying to give her a shield based on her original IDW design.
I could see that, yeah.
Because that could just be an extension of the front canopy anyway. Then it clips over the handlebars, maybe. I could see them giving her, I think, does she normally have like a trident or something like that in IDW? It was something like she has a bunch of melee weapons because of being a Kamian and whatnot. But I mean, I don't know what. I mean, she comes with throwing stars. We can see there because they're still molded in.
Yeah.
Nice, actually, quite nice teal plastic. To be fair, that's quite a nice color, I think. So, I mean, I'd love to see what third-party companies could come up with as an upgrade for her.
If they do, it might be one they just skip over though, because it's Chromia, so they might just go fuck her. I don't know. I don't know. Still,
but I mean, the figure doesn't necessarily need anything, so
no, not particularly. Next up, we have our first look at the multi-pack Wheeljack figure from the Autobot Selects pack. We've seen Trailbreaker. We have an inkling that the Earthrise or Earth version of Hound is going to be in there. So now we've got Wheeljack. This is just the Earthrise Wheeljack, but it's in more of a toy-accurate color scheme.
No clear plastic, which is nice.
Well, you say that, but do we know for sure that his boob isn't just painted over? Because these are digi-images, so it could be. It could be white plastic or something. Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully they wouldn't do that. Although one thing I have seen people point out though is that on the original toy, because it's a transparent plastic on the windscreen,
it
actually has the effect that it doesn't look quite as chunky as it is. And some people have pointed out that with it painted blue, he now looks a little on the tubby side.
I could see that.
Which I can see.
Yeah.
It's a daft thing to point out, but I was like, yeah, you're right. It is a little bit. I mean, it's a very nice paint job. I love the head in those greys rather than instead of this black and silver of the original toy.
Yeah. I think overall it does look a bit more visually more interesting, kind of like the rest of the pack. I'm not sure it's enough to really, at least for me, to be like, yeah, this would definitely be a pack to upgrade your set, unless you're desperate to have like a more animation version of them. I think retro labels or repro labels did stuff for this Wheeljack figure anyway.
They did proper official looking, just like they've done with Jazz and Mirage. They've done decals that look much more like the original toy from the 80s with the official licensing.
They got it to look more toony as well, didn't they? Because I think they gave you stickers to cover up the boobs.
Yeah, they gave you options for the windscreen and for the chest plate. They've done that with a few of the figures, to be fair, which I like that they do that, give you those options, which they don't have to do, but it's always nice to see.
So, I guess if you've got those stickers, does this overwrite that because it's not stickered? Or is that more of a, well, I've got the stickers, I've done the stickers, so I don't really need this figure? I don't know.
It's a tough one. I mean, it's it's an annoying set for is how they're looking to release Hound. To be fair, I'm hoping it's just like their first stab at releasing it.
Oh, they're not going to do it twice. I doubt it. Remember, there's only one version. There's only one way to get Ransack.
That's true.
It's that stupid insect pack.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I can actually see the appeal of this box for someone who doesn't have any of these characters.
Oh yeah, if you don't have any of these molds or any of them, yeah, sure, yeah.
It's a brilliant set for that. It's just if you've already got it, then it's a little bit like, oh, do I need to double dip on 3 of these characters just to get the one that I'm missing?
It almost feels like a getting into Transformers starter set. You know how you start collecting for Warhammer? Yeah. It feels like that. But I don't know how big the input is of new fans compared to like old men or old fans like us who are already kind of in.
Yeah,
I don't know. We don't know those numbers, so it's hard to say.
No, especially it's very G1 centric as well. This particular set. So
yeah. Mr. White says Jackie is the first in the new line of Dado bots. Oh, it's because he's fat, isn't it? Oh, poor guy.
Surely that's Trailbreaker.
Well, they could be all of them. They can all be fat.
Trailbreaker and Hoist.
Yeah, the fat boys. Fat bots. Next up, we have a new reveal of the Legacy Unite Deluxe Shard figure, which is another one of their weird rock things to go along with their other, not rock lords, but distinctly different things.
I'm starting to think that someone at Hasbro needs to go down to the Transformers department and check all the pipes to see if there's anything leaking in, because clearly someone on the design team is inhaling stuff that they really shouldn't be.
No, someone was told, I want you to do rock lords, and they went, okay. And then went, not what you're thinking, because we're not allowed to legally do the ones that are that were in the show. We don't own the rights to those. But we can do rock-like things. So we want to have rock things that don't turn into rocks, because rocks are fucking boring. So we want rock things, but what-if vehicles? And they went, but that's stupid. Okay, fine. What about a rock helicopter? Wouldn't work. It just wouldn't work. Don't care. Just do something. That's what this is. It's a rock helicopter.
But you know what's really, to me, that struck me every time I look at the pictures of this thing? It looks like it's feathered.
That's the problem. It's the color scheme. The color scheme's not... I think if you got, like, metallic-y colors, or you painted on, like, you know how there's stupid people in Warhammer who are really good at painting shadows and light sources on their figures? Yeah. Those cocks. If you get one of those dick weasels to paint one of these up to make it look like it's shimmering, or it has, like, light reflecting off of it, I think the mold would make it look really interesting. But that's not what we have.
I think it actually is painted in metallics. You've got metallic gold.
I don't think it is.
Are you sure? Because I'm seeing some gold and some metallic green in there.
I don't think it's metallic. It doesn't have a shine to it. It's these are flat colors. I'd say the yellow is kind of mustardy rather than just gold. When gold and mustard are similar, it's just the gold has a bit of a shine to it, right? And I think that's the case here. The green is not metallic-y. It's kind of a... I don't know my fucking green colors. It's not turquoise or whatever, but it's
jade.
Maybe jade is that whatever the color is, sure. And then there's a Dark Angels turquoise green above that, and then there's a slightly darker turquoise for blue. This figure actually has a lot of just color, almost like too much color.
Way more than the other two do.
Yeah, but just too much. It's just like it's in the same spectrum. It's like same area of the color wheel-ish area, but it's just like plopped around. I think this is a real kind of. This should be. If someone's good at painting these rock figures, they could make all of these look really interesting and pop. Because there's some really interesting stones out there. Yeah. The problem is the colors that we have on them just look a bit weird. Like green jade, I think is probably what you're suggesting that they're trying to go for here. And I don't think it doesn't look like a green jade toy. It looks, to me, it reminds me of some of the weird Beast Hunters beasts that we got at the end of that line with those kind of just like, it's the green color with a bit of yellow. You can just throw that on the figure.
Which is a shame because it actually looks like there's some fun engineering there. I mean, the rotor blades, how they're all individual. I really like that. That's actually a nice touch. The engines, how they've got multiple uses as arm blasters for holding the blades to be used as hand cannons. That's great. That robot head is really nice. And the actual copter, even with all the rock stuff over top of it, looks really it looks really clean for a helicopter transformation.
I'd slightly disagree, only on the terms of the colors. The colors kind of like the green, and then it just hits a blue bit and then goes back to green.
The
in
colors,
terms of the panels, I would agree. Yeah, it's got like a relatively smooth.
Yeah, if it didn't have any of the rock stuff and was just detailed like a helicopter, that would be one of the best helicopters they've ever made, I reckon. I'm willing to be proven wrong, but
I'm just thinking ever. It would be. I'd be down
certainly
to see it.
Certainly at a deluxe price point.
I don't know. Spinister was pretty good, right?
All right, maybe the equal of Spinister.
Yeah, I think it's definitely kind of in that category of like it's pretty interesting for a helicopter.
Yeah. I think Spinister just takes it because of name recognition, to be fair.
I disagree.
Oh no, I'm not saying the engineering on Spinister's in any way lesser than this, but I think that in terms of
you kind of implied that you implied that he's only winning out because of his name, and I don't think I would agree with that. Personally.
No, fair enough. But no, I mean, I get what you're saying that the colours are a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that there's a lot of potential with this thing, more so than the other two characters we've had.
It seems like this one doesn't transform into a weapon, which the other two do, and the grey one, being the granite guy, turns into a big hammer, who was the deluxe figure. So maybe this does have some sort of weapon mode. I don't know.
Well, the hammer isn't the hammer just because he's holding part of the hammer, and you can see the car dude holding the hammer haft. Isn't the top of the hammer just like his?
It's bits of him because they pull apart.
Oh yeah.
At least the big rock dude does. The small
small one just forms
doesn't. But I imagine maybe the helicopter does as well, because I thought that was the whole gimmick of this. I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised if they do. I mean,
maybe they just haven't shown what this one does for its kind of weaponizer sort of gimmicky doodah.
Well, I mean, if I was to hazard a guess, I reckon that the tail section might become a whip of some sort.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
So I could see that unplugging. Mm-hmm. Maybe something to do with the rotor blades, given how they are detachable.
I think it would just be weird if it didn't do it, because that seemed to be the gimmick of the other two. So it'd be odd if this one doesn't.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine it doesn't. It's just not been shown for whatever reason. What's chat say? Excel Hedge says, how would you even remold that rock helicopter? You just get all of the you get all the rock bits. You throw them in the bin, and you just kind of use the basic skeleton and plop new bits on top of it, I guess.
Yeah, you get the flatten tool, and you just go right. See this pedal? Flatten.
Yeah,
flatten.
It's not my problem. It's Hasbro's problem. They've got to figure that shit out. Fuck them. XL Hedge also says a certain WTF and TFW host must be screaming. Yeah, I'm sure Aaron. Well, it's just like, hey, it's another thing that proves helicopters aren't real. So, you know, get fucked. Mr. White says, sorry, not loving these. I can understand that. I'm not a big fan of these. I think these are very much these are quite. I think I'd like these more if I didn't know they were Transformers, and I was. This doesn't mean to be an insult. And I was 5. Like, if someone just gave me these and went, "Oh, just enjoy these," and I'm like, "Are these Transformers?" They'd be like, "Yeah, not really." And you're like, oh, okay, I could amuse myself with these, but I think as a Transformer kind of collector, these don't really do it for me, personally. They're different, but I'm not sure. This is like, do you remember in Big when Tom Hanks is like having a robot turn into a building stupid? Having a robot turn into a rock is pretty dumb. Having a rock turn into a vehicle is pretty dumb as well, I guess, is the mentality. Exelhead says, Jade, ? The dude is clearly made of Chaos Crystal. Oh, my God. That wouldn't be...
Do you mean Warpstone?
No, Chaos Crystal from the one episode where Cup fights the giant lizard Godzilla creature called Chaos. That's the reference I think he's making. You know, if the backstory for this guy is something to do with the Chaos creature, I think that would be quite fun. I don't think it will be, but that could be quite interesting if you wanted to build some lore from him. If you smooth over the details, you could just remold in a buff arachnid. That'd be interesting. Yeah, technically, like male arachnid. Yeah, dude arachnid. Or Shattered Glass Galvatron. Oh, yeah, because Shattered Glass Galvatron was Live Convoy, whatever the fuck he was called in Cybertron.
I mean, it is... I'm seeing a bit of Comanche in the design for it, yeah.
Comanche?
It was for prototype gunship the Americans tried to do in the late 80s. Before it was all stealthed, and then they realized that they couldn't make it work, so they stuck with the Apache.
Yeah.
Who needs stealth when you're a flying tank?
Not yet. Give it time. We'll get there. But yeah, this rock guy, he's all right. Don't love him, but he's definitely not one that I would buy. But it's kind of like the rest of the kind of dinosaur fossilizers and stuff like that. They're kind of interesting, but they're never things that I would. They've all
been low down on my priorities, but the ones that if I saw them for cheap on eBay or in a Smith's or something, or in a B&M or TK Maxx, I might grab one just to tool around with.
I would imagine, just like the fossilizers, these will definitely fall into that category fairly easily, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And the big news for the week was that we had the Hasbro Live event. I thought there was going to be a lot more than just the singular announcement, so when it finished, I was like, oh, that's it? Okay. You made such a big deal. It was just a HasLab announcement. But the HasLab announcement was Omega Prime. That's right. Both RID 2001, because we have to make that fucking statement now every bloody time. Optimus Prime and Ultra Magnus and the gun guy. What's the gun guy? Blue Balls. His name will be Blue Balls. Because it's a stupid name, and I don't think they should have had to do it. So,
to be fair, the gun was called Blue Bolts anyway.
Blue Balls.
That was what it was called originally. Blue Bolts.
What color is his groin?
Well, he's all blue.
Yep. So Blue Balls. Blue Balls. It is. We have images. Some of them CAD. Some of them are real. They had the prototype there. It's RID Optimus Prime. My big, I'll mention my big issue straight away, and then we'll talk about the figure as a figure, and I'll try and ignore the fact of how much you're having to spend on this figure. My main issue is I think you could have sold this guy on his own as a Commander class figure in stores. I have not seen any convincing arguments to say you couldn't have done this. The best argument I've seen is, well, no one would buy Ultra Magnus as a Commander. And I'm like, that's a shit argument for why Optimus Prime couldn't be sold as a Commander. That just means no one wants Ultra Magnus because he's shit. In my eyes, that's what it seems to me. Now, granted, there are things that you probably need to cut out of the Optimus Prime, but if you compare him to the Armada Optimus Prime, I think you could have done it. He's an Optimus Prime figure as well.
I can see that, yeah. I mean,
he's an Optimus Prime figure, so it's not like he wouldn't sell. It's the first time we've had RID Optimus Prime as well since since 2001. No, we had the really shit one when Matchbox were doing their crap
re-release of
No. We had the shit version from Matchbox when they did the Cobra Tank Megatron and the metal figures, all of that line. RID Optimus Prime was in that. You are correct, though. There was the... that was another excuse. There was the reissue, which, like you said, exploded. I heard people... I can't remember who it was, but I saw people say, well, that figure, that re-release is the same price as this release is. And I thought, well, that was not a good release anyway. and it did explode, as you mentioned. So not the best argument you could have for why this has to be it, but fair enough. So with that out the way, with me kind of taking off my negative Nancy hand, going, I don't think this should have been an exclusive. If anything, HasLab Ultra Magnus, because clearly no one but very specific people give a fuck about him, is what the excuse is. So just do that. How do the figures be? How do they turn out? I think they look like they're pretty good. And out of the two of us, you have the most HasLab tat, because you have like you have all the no, you don't have all because you don't have Unicron, but you have everything else.
Because I'm not insane.
But you have everything else, right? All of the two. Yeah.
Yes, I have the other two.
Yeah, and you've pre-ordered this one, right?
I've put a pre-order in. I may cancel the pre-order. I'm not sure. It depends if I have £250 by the 14th of March.
I would say do it, because if you don't want it, sell it.
Yeah, there is that.
I can't afford to do that because unless I go down to the docks and start sucking people off, I don't just have 250 lying around. Unfortunately,
I actually have a birthday this year, so I might ask my family if they can all just help me chip in towards it.
Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, that does.
Because I'm 11 this year.
Oh, I don't think you're legally allowed to be on my show if you're 11. You need to be 18 or over. Otherwise, I have to beat you with a cane. You know, the joys of being older. I could try. Ooh, okay. I'll buy a cane, and then if I see you at a Fluff and Hammer meetup, I'll remind you of this conversation.
I think I outmass you and Adam by quite a bit.
You know, a cane is a good equalizer, my friend. Cane has reach. It has length. Bonks. That's why the sword was invented. A man versus a bear isn't very good. A man versus a bear with a claymore, it's a bit more even.
A bear with a claymore? Jesus Christ.
No, a man with a claymore. A bear with a claymore would be terrifying.
Yeah, that's just an Apex Predator, but he just wants to go easy mode.
He ain't fucking around. But yeah, Optimus Prime, he's going to be able to do his standard... I'm a little baby boy, Optimus Prime. He will have a... I'm trying to find decent fucking images to show. I'll use the model. We have baby Optimus Prime. I think they said he's not going to have lights and sounds, which I don't care about. Good. They were very obtrusive on the original. Very, very obtrusive on the original toy. So him not having them, fine. Okay.
Yeah, and it just means they've been able to focus on getting the engineering right.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that this feels like a genuine passion project. Not just for the guys at Hasbro. In fact, they got the original designer in from Takara.
Yeah, that's fun.
And he some of the changes, things like making blue bolts a weaponizer. That was his idea. He wanted to play around with that, and just for them to, the fact that they've taken this a chance to go back, take things. I have this version of Prime. Well, the fire truck. We don't have the Ultra Magnus
because he's shit and he's hard to get and he's yellow mostly.
Yeah. And my one basically is in a bag of. I've got a bag of bits for the trailer in a wardrobe because the damn thing won't stay together.
Oh, will he not? Oh, mine's not too bad, thankfully.
To be fair, I got mine from a car boot sale, so...
yeah.
I mean, the Prime was a perfectly decent figure. This is pretty much a one-to-one update, just with a lot nicer engineering to it, by all accounts.
They've had to retweak the proportions. Like his thighs are thick for days because they have to be, so it kind of works visually for the not just super mode, but the Omega mode. But again,
and also just to hold everything as well to make sure it's solid.
Yeah, like you're not going to have him in Baby Optimus Prime mode. Like maybe you'll have him in Super Optimus Prime mode, but you're not going to just be like, I'll just have him next to the trailer base. Who does that? You're a crazy person.
Yeah, because the actual Super Prime is legendarily floppy, I've found. I mean, my version, especially with how it all unfolds over the top of the body, the trailer, how it just unfolds over the top of the base robot. Very cool look. But the fact that there was just this big gap behind the stomach where the robot extended upwards,
it's
always
kind of
just
like
hilarious.
It's kind of like someone removed most of his organs, and it's just a spinal column holding up everything. It's fine if you don't look too hard, but it definitely means it's worn down a little bit over time. This was suggested that because you don't have the lights and sounds, he'll have bits that will be able to close around. They mentioned it as a girdle to try and hold it a little bit better in place, which I think's fine, whatever, if it makes it a bit more secure. I was a little sad to see that it still had that kind of gimmick, the extension.
Yes, but I mean that was part of to get the proportions right for the super robot.
Yeah,
he needed to do something like that anyway.
Yeah, it's just a shame that over the many, 20 years since the original version, there wasn't another way to do it, I suppose. Not like a big issue, but I was just like, it's a shame it does that, because that still makes me scared, I suppose. Yeah,
but like you say, they've come up with options, so they've got that girdle engineering in place to
try and help out. Things. Yeah,
he's got a waist swivel.
Yes, yep.
Which I generally wasn't expecting to see, to be fair. And they just look like really nice updates of all elements of the Omega Prime set as a whole.
Well, we haven't even got on to Ultra Magnus. We've got the...
But I mean, Prime is... I mean, I get what you're saying, that you think you see no reason why it couldn't have been a Commander class release.
None.
I can see that. I generally can. I mean, I've said myself that even as someone who backed the HasLab figures, I would love if there was a way for other fans who missed out to still be able to get Starsaber and Victory Leo and Deathsaurus.
Yeah.
Even if they're not the full HasLab versions, if they're missing elements, so they're downgrades in a way, so they're missing some of the stuff that came with them. I would love to see more people be able to access these figures. The reason I don't object to this being a HasLab release is mainly because, like I say, I see the passion they were exhibiting, both the member of the Hasbro team and how they were describing the designer from Takara, how he was going, kind of rubbing his hands at being able to update one of his original designs. And I kind of appreciate that. That makes it feel a bit more special. I'm not saying they couldn't have done that for a mainline release, but they're using the HasLab for what I feel it's designed for, to kind of go all in and make the best version of a figure that they can. I mean, that's where a lot of people have had issues with HasLab in the past, but what we've gotten has not necessarily been what we were expecting in terms of the quality.
Like what?
Okay, Unicron.
I mean, that was just a shit show.
Yeah.
That never looked good.
No. A lot of people take issue with just how the shell just collapses around the back of the robot mode, for example. That's before you get to the fact that, by all accounts, he's a hideous mess to try and pose or display or do anything with because of how big he is. But I mean, all right, Starsaber. I do really like the figure. I have no regrets about buying it. But I get where people have said that they feel that it's still not quite the figure that they wanted for best representation of the character.
Why is that? Because I don't know.
Okay, there were some little things to it. So there is a bit of an element with the lower legs because they're quite hefty. With the ratchets in the legs, they're not as strong. So they can be a bit difficult to pose sometimes. And the inner robot, the Saber robot, they kind of cheaped out on his forearms.
Okay.
His arms in general, so that they didn't look particularly nice there was obvious hollowness in robot mode when you folded the hands out and stuff. Things that, for the price point we were paying, that shouldn't have been there.
Okay.
I mean, I'll admit, I probably spent an additional 30 quid on upgrade kits, Starsaber.
Yeah.
Since I've had it, just to fill in little things, just things like the the Star Saber, I wanted a bigger blade for the Super Robot mode because base one didn't look right. It didn't feel in scale. Some gap fillers for the guns on Victory Leo. I mean,
and is this all basically because you think they weren't passionate? Because that seems to be what your argument was.
Not necessarily passionate. I think
because you mentioned specifically that you were happy because they were passionate about this one, and you said
I think they're passionate about Star Saber.
Like you were suggesting that they weren't passionate about the previous releases, thus they were bad. Is that what you were suggesting?
I'll probably not explain myself properly. So Star Saber, because of his gimmick with Victory Leo, I think they had to compromise.
Mm-hmm.
And so that meant there were a few things that they basically just didn't get away with. With Devsaurus, because he's an individual figure in his own right, his only gimmick it really is for the chest thing, for the breast force gimmick. So he's basically got a Soundwave chest. That's not the end of the world. Everything else about the figure is singular. Apart from the fact that he's missing a single gun that I'd like to have with him, but that's just me, Devsaurus is arguably the nicest single figure in my collection now, to my mind. He's the most stable. I mean, I was tooling around with Siege Jetfire yesterday, and his hips are loose as anything. He just won't. You've really got to stress to make him stay in one pose. Devsaurus, none of that. He's got nice solid ratchets. I did finally transform him into his turkey mode a few times recently, and it's ridiculous, but it looks fantastic. And I feel that they put whereas with Star Saber or Victory Saber, they had to split the budget between two figures. They didn't have to do it with Devsaurus.
They will have to do it here, though, right?
They are, but they've also, with these guys, they've upped the price point.
Okay.
Because effectively you're buying 2 Commander class figures and a deluxe.
So why couldn't you buy just 2 Commander classes?
Well, they also have to bear in mind they've got to factor in the market. But
this is an Optimus Prime. An Optimus Prime would sell. That's why they always make Optimus Primes. That's why they did Armada Optimus Prime.
Yeah, but this one is probably one of the less well-known primes, for one.
I don't think that matters. Do you really think this is as well-known or less well-known than Armada Optimus Prime?
I would probably say that Armada Prime is much more well-known.
I say they're equally well-known, because they came out 1 year apart from each other, basically.
They did.
And they've had about as much, media distribution as each other. I.e., not much. See, this is the problem I have with the argument. Because I don't think it's a good argument, because it's an Optimus Prime. They just do Optimus Primes, because they know they'll sell. At the very least, because, let's be honest, Legacy is designed for the fans.
Yeah.
Everybody's... there are people who just collect Optimus Primes, so why not just put out the Optimus Prime? And like I said, the only real argument I heard against that was because Ultra Magnus wouldn't sell as the commander. And I don't think that's a good excuse. I think that's a really shitty excuse.
Well, how about this one then? For the 40th anniversary HasLab, they wanted to make it something special. So they've used the flagship franchise character, Optimus Prime, but a version that is not as well known as most others. And they've gone all in to make it
40th anniversary Atlas. Character they don't know, leader of the Autobots, wouldn't have a big following because it's not Optimus Prime, so it would be a lot harder to sell. A big project because there's 3 robots included in that Atlas.
I could have seen that, yeah.
Yeah.
So, are you saying that you'd rather have maybe them done Primus as this?
I never suggested Primus. Never suggested Primus at all.
All right. Well, okay.
I definitely wouldn't. I definitely don't want to light another. I definitely don't want another large planet scale transformer because Unicron's a fucking mess. So no, let's just avoid that like the goddamn plague. Never go back.
Yeah.
No. Jesus Christ. No, let's never do that. I think Diatlas is a better choice because it's obscure, because it's Japanese. And I feel that they're the ones that make sense to do because it's hard to sell for a wider market. Which is why I assumed it would be Lio Kaiser, because it's like it's a 5-party transformer combiner. Only like lame super fans like me and you and other people who may be listening to the show know about him. Like a kid's not going to give a shit about Lio Kaiser because he's not really had any kind of presence. It's again not like an Optimus Prime, which you go up to your mum and say, "Mum, I like Optimus Prime," and she goes, "Well, okay, sweetie, I'll just buy the Optimus Prime that's on the shelf," and they just buy what's there. Like, it's harder to sell a parent on a Lio Kaiser than it is an RID Optimus Prime than it is a Lio Kaiser. So that would have been my suggestion.
I can get that.
I think the HasLab stuff should not be exclusively for the face of the company kind of thing, which is Optimus Prime and Bumblebee. Especially with like I said, with the amount of times that they've shoved a Prime into a line. Like, how many Optimus Primes have we had since 2001? In 20 years, how many Optimus Primes? We've had more than 20. A lot more than 20, which is one a year. So that's my issue.
Someone was saying that Earthrise Prime is actually nearly 4 years old now. So they're expecting us to have another... Because someone was saying that this year's Optimus Mainline Prime was going to... They were upset because we'll mainline.
Yeah, sorry, you said Earthrise. I thought you meant Earthspark. And I was like, Earthspark is 4 years old? Because we've had him since then. We've had the myriad repaints of Laser G2 Optimus Prime as well.
Yeah.
So that's the latest quote-unquote Optimus Prime that's been hanging around. But yeah, it's like you said, it's surprising we haven't had a real... Armada Optimus Prime. Armada Optimus Prime's the last Optimus Prime. We haven't had a quote-unquote G1 Optimus Prime since, like you said, that one.
Because I think there's a listing either for the Studio Series or the mainline this year for a new Optimus Prime figure. Yeah,
I wouldn't be so... Yeah, that's right. There's meant to be the... people are either suspecting a brand new one or the Earthrise one again, but the inkling is it's going to be a brand new mold for Studio Series. I think I mentioned on the show when that was announced. Excel Hedge in chat says, my problem is it's basically Titan priced. Sell it as a Titan. I wouldn't disagree.
Yeah.
I don't see, like, if you said sacrifice the weaponizer and be like, we can't have a weaponizer for your retail one, I'd be like, fine, throw that Blue Balls boy in the bin, make him Titan 2-pack. I think that was fine. I thought that as well, to be honest, because I thought if you're going to price them around that thing, you say that you get 2 figures. Okay. I don't think the price is obscene, to be honest, because you do get 3 figures. 2 of them are commander scale. My issue is, if you don't do it now, go fuck yourself. You'll never get this figure, because he'll be 600, 700, 1,000 pounds after the fact. I'm
with you on that, Score. I do this... As much as I have bought a ridiculous amount over the years of stuff that's limited edition or limited time only releases for various things, as you've seen from my Warhammer archives, I really dislike stuff being locked away.
It's the exclusivity. People can say, Andy, you bought the Hiss Tank. I'm like, yes, I bought the Hiss Tank because I knew if I didn't get it, I'd never get it. It is the quintessential. It shouldn't be, because it is a vehicle that you could have sold. You could easily sell the Hiss Tank as it is for less than for what it is. You know, you rip out a load of the gimmicks and stuff. You could sell that at retail. People would buy it. People bought 4 or 5 of them from the HasLab version. You'd get those people buying even more if they weren't the HasLab version. So I think it's shitty, but it's the only way.
Using Jojo as the same example, they've HasLabbed the Sky Striker, the Dragonfly.
That would have sold.
Yeah. And what else have they done? They've done some other stuff recently as well in the last few years.
You know what would make sense for G.I. Joe? The Hiss Tank 3, right?
Oh, the big one with the... Yeah, I had that one. With the troop compartment.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Hiss Tank 1, but it's a little bit bigger. It's a bit strange. It's a bit more obscure. It's not the iconic one. Yeah. Fine. Okay, because people would rather buy the His Tank in stores. Maybe they'd prefer to get the His Tank 3 and army build that from HasLab.
Yeah.
Or just have a one-off, That makes more sense rather than the quintessential. This is the problem I have with HasLab.
I have a theory about the G.I. Joe stuff.
Mm.
And it's something I've noticed in other bits of fandom. Funny thing, outside of the States, a lot of people, and I say this as someone who grew up collecting Action Force and G.I. Joe, outside of the States, a lot of the world really doesn't give a fuck about G.I. Joe as much as Hasbro would like them to. As much as the books and the toys have, over the decades, been quite good. I had a massive G.I. Joe collection when I was a kid. Bigger than my Transformers.
I think you and I have talked about this before on the show, because I've mentioned on there previously as well. It's because they don't do anything with G.I. Joe. They don't advertise outside of their country. They haven't had a show since Resolute Revolution, whatever one it was.
Yeah, they made Hasbro themselves effectively stopped selling classified outside the States.
Yeah.
It's only been like the last year and a half, I think, something like that, where it's been easier to get on Pulse or through the likes of Star Action Figures and In Demand and Kapow.
And even then, technically, Pulse is underselling them because you can buy them cheaper from there. And I know that people at Kapow are like, what the fuck? You're fucking us over by doing this.
Yeah. But was it? I was watching Dr. Lockdown earlier on. He did a overview of the first of the Skybound Transformers Energon comics up to the end of the last year. So what had come out so far. Covering Void Rivals Transformers. He didn't cover Duke or Cobra Commander because by that point he hadn't actually had them in hand yet.
Sure.
So he was kind of reviewing them as they'd released, not as a whole entity. And he made a good point that Void Rivals was actually one of the hottest launches of last year in terms of genuinely new books, even though it is linked to, it was the first book in this new Energon universe. In itself, it's actually got a, because I've read up to date on Void Rivals. It's a brilliant book. It's doing some really interesting sci-fi stuff, but it just so happens to be set in the Transformers universe.
Yeah.
It's now, there's not a new issue, I think, for another, till the end of February. So January, there was no issue at all.
Okay.
Which is, well, that was on their schedule. They Skybound like to give artists a month or two break so that they can get caught up, rather than having to bring in a replacement or someone. So they're, but so also so the team can work at a decent pace, so they're not killing themselves, which I respect. But then you have January where you had a singular issue of Transformers and 2 G.I. Joe comics. Both of which, now I've read both the Duke and Cobra Commander books so far. They're actually really good reads. But what they're doing with how they fit in everything together, I'm actually genuinely intrigued by. But for a lot of people, either trying to get into Transformers or into it already, most of them will go, but I don't want to read G.I. Joe books. I don't want to have to. Because for a lot of the fandoms, they're not American, and the whole real American hero shtick has, it's a bit of a difficult sell. Let's be honest.
Surely that's just more down to they just don't have any nostalgia for it, right?
A bit of that, yeah. And it's a shame because, like I say, the 2 books, first issue of Cobra Commander, brilliant. But I also acknowledge there's a lot of stuff in it that, without my particular understanding of the franchise, would probably have gone over a lot of people's heads, or wouldn't have connected the way it did with me.
Yeah.
Duke did some similar stuff. I appreciate the story they're telling, but there's this, Hasbro have this real yen to try and push G.I. Joe in a way that it's not really.
I said it. All you have to do is make a cartoon. Just make a show. Just do a show. Mm-hmm. That's all you have to do. No one's going to get interested in a product that has no media behind it, and a comic just doesn't cut it. People don't give too much of a crap about comics these days in comparison to doing a show, and that's just how it is. Mm-hmm. Do a cartoon. There you go. We've gone way off topic here. We need to kind of wrangle this back to the RID Prime. And as I was saying before, I still think it looks, without any of the, hey, it's a HasLab thing and it should be sold retail-wise, it's compared to the original one. They have it in super mode on screen at the moment. They said it was, I can't remember the terminology. They used some weird terminology. It was like super accurate to how it should be. And I was like, super accurate? Super proportioned? I was like, I didn't think it was like, the original toy wasn't that badly proportioned. This one's better proportioned, but I don't think, I felt almost like they were underselling how the original one looked. And in some places it looked a bit rough, but I think this one it's clearly a lot cleaner. You can take out the matrix for this new one, apparently, which I don't think is a real big deal for me, but it's a feature, I suppose.
It's a prime of a matrix.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Sure, yeah. And Ultra Magnus is very much Ultra Magnus. He's very hollow legs. And because his vehicle mode was always way better than his robot mode, because his robot mode is just, hey, I turn into bits for you, Optimus.
It's like, hey, I have legs for days.
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. And Blue Balls, I don't really give a shit about Blue Balls. He's an inspired design, in all honesty, because he's just a very basic gun that turns into a very basic robot. It's got nothing there that really interests me personally. I know some people were really excited that the gun could transform. I'm like, I don't know why. Okay, fair enough. To me, it just felt like a thing. I don't remember weaponizers being a huge deal.
It's a fun addition,
It's nice. It's not like
he's a supersized target master.
Yeah, it's not like it's like, oh hey, you got a Happy Meal, he's a little toy, rather than he's a Happy Meal, he's an extra 5 meals as well, which it felt like some people's reaction to it. It's like, no, it's only a weapon. Again, remember, 6-gun not that good with Metroplex. Remember, no one really cared about 6-gun, right?
I liked all of weaponizers. I think they're fun.
You think they're fun, but you really think they were as good as the rest of the line?
Well, I bought them all.
I mean, there was a reason why they went on sale before everything else, right?
Yeah, I suppose.
There's a reason, because they weren't as good.
I still bought them all when they first came out. So.
Sure. But didn't you say in the show you just buy everything when it comes out, generally?
Shh. Stop using my words against me, Andy.
In terms of height, the two of them seem to be comparable to Victory Saber combined, which is interesting. So they are two big robots.
Yeah,
they made a big deal that
boys.
They made a big deal that they can shake hands, which I thought was a little oversell, because it's Optimus Prime's closed fist hand and a little OP opening hand of Ultra Magnus, kind of not really shaking hands, but it's more like Ultra Magnus is caressing a closed fist. But it works. I just wouldn't be hyping it up too much, but they were. Omega Prime looks very good. Again, if we're just talking about without the exclusivity and all that kind of faff of having to HasLab it, I do think it looks like a good representation of Omega Prime. I think anyone who really wants to get this figure, and it's doing well for the backing at the moment anyway, I think we're over halfway.
6,500 backers so far.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it would do it, but it seems like if we're at this point, we're already that far through. I would be surprised if it didn't do it.
Yeah, because I mean, the Asian on Australian pre-orders, I don't think will get factored in until 3rd or 4th week.
They are open now, though. Both of those are open now. Yeah. Yeah, there has some news stories which I didn't include.
Because of how they get counted, because they don't go through HasLab, they go through local
their own
retailers.
Retailers, yeah.
Yeah. So I'll be surprised if by end of next week into the week after, if we're not within sniffing distance of that. 11,000 mark if we haven't blown through it by that point.
Yeah, I think we're going to easily hit it. And then we have the backers stuff, which again, kind of, I shrug my shoulders at. You got the Master Sword, which is like, that makes sense. The prototype looks a bit wobbly, but I have to assume that's because it's a proto, and those things are usually very, very fragile. I was very scared that on stream it was just going to snap, to be honest.
I mean, I'll be honest. I was scared when he was transforming the different
prototype.
Yeah. I was waiting for someone to go snap and everyone to go, oh.
I think that, they must be good enough to do that. But the Master Blade being on kind of a precarious pole definitely made me a bit concerned. They have the height if you're a size queen. Omega Prime is 13.75 inches and the Master Blade is 23.5 inches. So very big.
I have knives that aren't that big.
You have what?
I have knives that aren't that big.
Oh, knives. Okay, yeah. Good luck finding a good shelf space for him to display the Master Sword with. The Matrix Blade. My bad. The Matrix Blade. The stand he comes with is kind of cute. Is how I would describe it. It's not like a big wow thing, but it's like it's a bit of the road. I can't remember the special name for the road, but
Space Bridge, I think they said it.
Cybertron Network or something. Yeah, I think it's just the American version is just the Space Bridge. The Space Bridge, they'll be painted up like a road. It's not like anything crazy, but it's like it's a nice reference to the show. Yeah. Since that was the main. And
it's one of the things. It's nice if they put a bit of thought into it. It's not just a blank base.
Oh, do you want another reason why this shouldn't have been? Sorry to mention this again. Do you want another reason why this shouldn't be a HasLab? Because we're getting Sideburn. They're doing a release of Sideburn. Yeah. So if you're like, I'll get on the RID train, and you were going to get Sideburn, then you have to get this because there'll be no other way to get the leader.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Annoying. So there's another reason to be rather perturbed about it if you wish to be. But
here's a question for you, then, Andy.
Sure.
Do you think we're going to get RID Megatron out of this in some form? Not this as out of this particular funding phase, but do you think they'll do them next year or maybe as a mainline release?
I'd hope for a mainline release. I wouldn't be shocked if they did. It depends what they want to do with HasLab, because they did Star Saber and Victory Saber, and then they did Death Saurus, so you've got the pair. So logically, it would make sense to do Omega and then do Galvatron or Gigatron or the RID Megatron. That makes, if you said to me that was a HasLab thing, that makes more sense to me than Omega, because you've got to get, like, they have, if they do the budget for a HasLab for RID Megatron, you would expect good 10 modes, not kind of a shitty half-assed 10 modes. And you can still half-ass shitty them, because a lot of the 10 modes on him are kind of half-assed and shitty. But you could do your best to make that as good as possible. If you said, Andy, 10 modes, Galvatron, HasLab, I don't like it, but I get it. That makes sense to me.
That's fair.
And again, it would make sense to me because you've got the leader now from RID. And I don't want to see that pattern of here's the leader, here's the villain, this is the way you get them, because that might mean that, hey, do you want Energon Prime? No one would do Energon Prime, though. But if you wanted Energon Prime and you wanted Energon Megatron, here you go. But again, I don't think that would be the case, because we get an Energon Megatron as a Legends figure. We've got a Galaxy Prime, but if you wanted good Galaxy Prime versus good Galaxy Megatron, would they be HasLab as well? Again, I hope not, but... You mentioned that. I could see it happening. I'd much prefer a standard kind of Commander release for him. But
so would I, to be fair.
Yeah. I don't know how I ever feel about these fundraiser things.
I mean, it's kind of how I feel about Kickstarters, to be honest.
Kickstarters make sense because they're not coming from big companies. Hasbro's a big company. I don't think they should be doing Kickstarters. It just feels... I'm not sure I want to use the term immorally wrong, but it doesn't feel right for them to be doing it.
I get that. I mean, I can kind of see their counter argument there. They want to make sure that they're trying to do something that they don't know if they could put it out as a mass retail release. So they want to make sure that and they've had stuff that hasn't funded. We've seen stuff that hasn't funded, which I thought would have been quite nice to see, to be honest.
None of them have been Transformers, though.
This is also true.
So some of the things that I didn't fund, to me, made a lot of sense. Some of them I was surprised by, but I was like, yeah, I can also see that. Like the Ghost Rider car and Mephisto and stuff like that. I'm like, fuck you for putting Mephisto there. Mephisto would have sold normally. And they're like, you'll never get Mephisto now. That's a fuck you to people who collect Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
Because Mephisto's a big, important character, and to basically go like, well, you didn't fund a Ghost Rider car. And let's be fair, if you're going to fund Ghost Rider, most people would probably want the motorbike one, not the dude in the car. So it's like, that felt dirty.
I still laugh at the fact that they did the Razor Crest from The Mandalorian, and just as it released, they blew that up in the show.
Oof.
Oh. I shouldn't laugh. It made me chuckle.
Disney knew, but I'm like, there's no way Hasbro would have known when they started making it. So I don't know. If I was a Hasbro exec, I would have been pissed. I would have been like, what the fuck did you do? You basically tried to nuke this fundraiser for us. If I was running Hasbro.
They destroyed it after it had shipped to backers.
Yeah, that's why I would be fucking pissed.
So...
Because that's not going to... Well, if you're not going to lose money that way, you're going to get bad fan reaction, because the fans aren't going to be happy to pay that much for something that's basically being exploded.
Yes.
But there you go.
Some of the reactions were hilarious, I will admit.
Excel Hedge says one of the tiers should have had the tie. Tie hasn't been included. That would be actually a decent backer goal to have a little... Not like anything posable, but like a little PVC... tie figure to stand with Prime. She was practically glued to Prime's side anyway. Yeah, that's a good point, Excel Hedge. I think tie is a really solid suggestion, to be honest. I'd be down with that. But that's it. Do you have anything else you want to say about the Omega Prime or anything? I mean, it does literally everything. It's got the shoulder guns, which again, they went through all of the base modes and stuff like that. And I was like, well, yeah, it does the exact same stuff the original toy does. So I'm not surprised.
Does everything... Yeah,
but better.
I'm looking forward to seeing. Because they said that they're expecting a painted prototype in February.
Oh, that's pretty ambitious, because that's so within the next like 20 days or something.
Well, basically a painted version of what they had on hand. So it'll just be a resin version that they had painted.
Oh, that's easy enough to do.
Yeah, but I really want to see how that looks fully painted, because the renders look good. And there's a lot of lovely detail on this thing, so to see it all done and with all the metallics and everything's done properly, that should be nice to see.
Yeah.
I hope that won't be, and to see if they open up any additional stretch goals. I think. Yeah,
the two that they have is kind of weak.
The spear and the base seems a little
lame.
Yeah.
Lame. Yeah.
I mean, like Exile Hedge said, tie would be quite nice.
I mean, let's not be crazy. Deathsaurus didn't have the best stretch goals, but
no, but there were more. But he came with a freaking arsenal.
Yeah, he came with things. So hopefully this will have more. Yeah. I don't know why else apart from tie.
They did give him probably the two best Micromasters since the first wave of Siege.
Sure. Oh yeah, I forgot he came with the Micromasters. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a high bar, but it is a bar.
Yeah. Well, that's all of our news. We can't really talk about what we did this week because we've ran over time. So, Big D, where can people find you on the internet if you want them to?
Well, you can find me anywhere by looking for Daffyd and looking for this handsome visage of a grizzled Autobot warrior. I don't hide my name. That's who I am. I'm a mod on the Fluff and Hammer Discord, where I think I help Adam. He may disagree at that point, but I contribute the occasional article for him and run the monthly watch along. Had our February one last night. The Mummy Returns and the Green Knight. Next month we've rolled up, and that's going to be Zulu and Tron Legacy, which is a fascinating double bill.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I contribute to UKAnime.net as one of their mech heads. And yeah, that's about it, really. So,
and you can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube as Decayed Andy. You can find us on the Moonbase 2 forums, Twitter, iTunes, Facebook, Libsyn. You want to help out the show, you can head over to patreon.com/Moonbase2. And if you want to do the minimum of like $2 a month, much appreciated. And yeah, apart from that, thank you everybody for coming on by. I've got to get shipping. So until next week, thank you, Big D, for coming on and helping me out with the show this week.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.